She said, "My ex will stay with us for a week. He needs some support." I replied, "All right." Then I rented an apartment nearby, packed my things, and left an envelope with divorce papers on her bed. My name is Miles Brennan, and I'm a security consultant. 38 years old, ex-military logistics, and I've got a talent for spotting lies from a mile away. My wife Jenna thought she was clever, but she underestimated the wrong guy. It started 3 months ago when Jenna began working late. Strategy meetings, she called them. Her best friend Lexi Harper, some social media influencer with fake everything, suddenly needed emergency girls' trips every weekend. The signs were there, bright as neon. Then came the bombshell. "Blake needs a place to crash," Jenna announced over breakfast, not meeting my eyes. "He's going through a rough divorce." Blake Carter, real estate developer, early 40s, the kind of guy who thinks his BMW makes him interesting. I'd met him at Jenna's office parties. Smug fool with wandering hands and a wedding ring he conveniently forgot to mention. "Your ex-husband?" I asked, playing dumb. "Yeah, from college, before I met you." She was stirring her coffee like it held the secrets of the universe. "Here's the thing about being in security. You learn to prepare for everything. I'd installed cameras in our apartment months ago. Standard stuff for someone in my line of work. What I didn't expect was to use them on my own wife. I packed my bags that same day, kissed Jenna goodbye like nothing was wrong, and moved into a studio apartment 6 blocks away. Before leaving, I activated the hidden camera in our bedroom and left a burner phone tucked behind the couch cushions, recording everything. Mrs. Rourke, our 70-year-old neighbor, watched me load boxes into my truck. "About time, honey," she said from her balcony. "That girl's been bringing men around since you started traveling for work." 6 hours after I left, my phone exploded with messages from Jenna. "Miles, where are you? Why are there divorce papers on my bed? We need to talk. This is insane." I ignored them all. Instead, I drove to Murphy's Bar, where my old army buddy Dave worked as a mechanic and my friend Eli tended bar. Eli used to be a private investigator before he decided bartending was more honest work. "You look like crap," Dave said, sliding me a beer. "Wife's cheating," I replied, "with her ex-husband, who isn't actually her ex-husband." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Blake Carter? You know him? Rich boy comes in here sometimes, brags about his conquests. Mentioned a marketing exec named Jenna last week. Said he was going to move in for the elimination." My phone buzzed. Mrs. Rourke had sent a photo. Blake and Jenna making out on our balcony, her legs wrapped around his waist. "I told you so, honey," her text read. The next morning, I reviewed the security footage from my apartment. What I saw made my blood boil, but also gave me exactly what I needed. Jenna and Blake tangled in my sheets, mocking me between rounds. "Miles is so boring," she laughed. "He thinks I'm working late when I'm with you." "Guy's a fool," Blake replied. "When you divorce him, we'll use his money for that house in the Hamptons." But the real kicker came when Lexi arrived with champagne. The three of them toasted the plan while sitting on my couch. "Poor Miles," Lexi giggled. "He has no idea his wife's been planning this for months. The fake business trips, the separate bank account, everything. Once I get half his assets, we're home free," Jenna said, raising her glass. I saved every second of that footage. Tommy, our building's doorman, called me that afternoon. "Mr. Brennan, thought you should know. Your wife's ex isn't acting very ex-like. Saw them in the gym sauna this morning. Let's just say they weren't discussing real estate. Time for phase 2. I created a fake email from a law firm claiming they'd discovered hidden assets in Jenna's name that could affect our divorce proceedings. I watched from across the street as she panicked, making frantic phone calls, probably to Blake and Lexi. That evening, Jenna texted about having a work dinner with clients. Using the tracking app on her phone, something she'd agreed to when we got married for safety reasons, I followed her to the Marriott downtown. Through the hotel restaurant's window, I watched her and Blake feed each other dessert like teenagers. But I had a better plan than confronting them. I hacked into Lexi's cloud account, not hard when someone uses password 123 for everything, and started live streaming footage from the hotel's security cameras to her Instagram story. Within minutes, Jenna's affair was broadcasting to 3,000 followers. My phone rang, Jenna screaming, "Miles, What did you do? Public spaces, public information. You're insane. No, I'm thorough. There's a difference. By morning, Jenna's office was buzzing with gossip. Her boss called an emergency meeting about maintaining professional standards. Blake's wife had apparently seen the Instagram stream and was filing for divorce. But I wasn't done. Phase 3 required Blake to make a mistake. And arrogant men always do. I called him directly. Blake, it's Miles. We need to talk, man to man. Look, Miles, I can explain. Meet me at the parking garage on 5th Street tonight. 10 p.m. Let's settle this like adults. He agreed, probably thinking he could intimidate me. Dave met me at the garage with his tow truck. You sure about this? Positive. No violence, just psychology. Blake arrived in his BMW, cocky as ever. Miles, look, what happened with Jenna? Save it. I gestured to the empty rooftop level. Let's talk privately. As we walked toward the edge, Dave positioned his truck behind Blake's car. At my signal, he accidentally bumped it, sending the BMW rolling toward the concrete barrier. Blake screamed, diving after his precious car. It stopped inches from the edge. Oops, Dave said. Brake must have slipped. While Blake hyperventilated over his car, I pulled out my phone. Smile, Blake. Your wife's gonna love this footage of you begging for mercy over a car while she's filing divorce papers. You can't. I can. I also have recordings of you planning to steal my money, photos of you screwing my wife in my bed, and enough evidence to destroy your business reputation. I stepped closer. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to disappear from Jenna's life. Permanently. Blake nodded frantically. I let him leave, but not before Dave carved "infidelity is expensive" into his car door with a screwdriver. What we didn't know was that Lexi had followed us, hiding in the stairwell with her phone camera. She posted the whole confrontation online, but with a twist. She painted Blake as the sufferer and me as a psychotic husband. The video went viral, but not how she expected. Comments flooded in supporting me, calling Blake and Jenna cheating scum. Lexi's plan to gain sympathy followers backfired spectacularly. By the next day, Jenna's world was collapsing. Her marketing firm put her on administrative leave pending an investigation. Blake's construction company was hemorrhaging clients. Lexi, desperate for more content, started leaking even more secrets. She revealed Jenna's husband fund, money she'd been siphoning from our joint account. She shared screenshots of text messages where Jenna called me pathetic and easy to manipulate. She even posted audio of Jenna and Blake planning to clean out my retirement fund. Every revelation destroyed another piece of Jenna's carefully constructed image. That's when Jenna made her final mistake. She agreed to meet me at the Sunset Motel on Route 9, thinking she could manipulate me one last time. Miles, baby, we can work this out, she pleaded over the phone. I made mistakes, but we can start over. I agreed to meet her, but I had one last surprise planned. The motel room was perfect, cheap, dingy, with thin walls and thinner morals. I'd set up cameras in advance and asked Mrs. Rourke to be my witness, parked outside in Dave's truck. Jenna arrived first, dressed to eliminate, probably thinking she could seduce me into forgiveness. Miles, I'm so sorry. Blake meant nothing. It was just what? A way to steal my money and humiliate me? Her face hardened. Fine. You want the truth? You're boring, Miles. Boring and predictable. Blake makes me feel alive. Interesting timing, I said, checking my phone, because Blake should be here any minute. Her eyes widened. What? I told him you wanted to run away together tonight. Lexi helped arrange it. The door burst open. Blake stumbled in, looking panicked. Jenna, we need to leave now. My wife's lawyers are... He stopped when he saw me. What the hell is this? A reckoning, I said calmly. That's when Lexi walked in behind Blake, her phone camera rolling. Surprise. Jenna stared at her best friend. Lexi, what are you doing? Getting the content of a lifetime, Lexi smiled. You didn't think I'd let you have all the fun, did you? I've been orchestrating this whole thing for months. The room went silent. You see, Jenna, you were always competition at the agency. Blake, you were always too arrogant for your own good. And Miles? She looked at me with genuine respect. You were the only one smart enough to see through everyone's BS. Blake stepped forward. Lexi, you crazy witch. Careful, she warned, still filming. Everything you say is going live to my followers. All 50,000 of them. Jenna's face went white. You've been using me? Using you. Honey, I've been saving you from yourself. You would have been caught eventually. This way, you go down in flames, I get the story of the year, and Miles gets his revenge. Everybody wins. Except us, Blake shouted. That's the point, I said, stepping forward. Jenna, you stole from me, lied to me, and humiliated me. Blake, you helped her do it while pretending to be my friend. You both thought I was too stupid to notice. I pulled out a folder full of documents. Bank records showing the money transfers, photos of your meetings, audio recordings of your plans, screenshots of your text messages mocking me. Everything. Jenna tried to grab the folder, but I pulled it back. It's all been submitted to your HR department, Blake's business partners, and both your divorce lawyers. Your careers are over. Police sirens wailed outside. Mrs. Rourke had called them about the disturbance. No one's getting arrested, I announced as officers knocked on the door. This is just a civil matter. The cops took statements, but there was no crime to investigate. Just 3 people whose lies had finally caught up with them. As we all stood in the motel parking lot, Jenna made one last desperate attempt. Miles, please. I'll give you everything back. We can start over. I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in months. The woman I'd married was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. Jenna, you told me payback was a witch. But sometimes it's a sarcastic son of a witch with a security clearance and friends who know how to use a tow truck. Blake was already walking away, his BMW making grinding noises from Dave's earlier accident. His phone rang constantly, probably his wife's lawyers. Lexi waved goodbye, still streaming. Thanks for the content, everyone. This is going to get me a Netflix deal. Jenna stood alone in the parking lot, her perfect life in ruins. Her job was gone. Her lover had abandoned her. Her best friend had betrayed her. Her husband had outsmarted her at every turn. Miles, she called as I walked toward Dave's truck. What am I supposed to do now? I turned back one last time. Figure it out. You're smart enough to plan an elaborate affair in financial theft. You're smart enough to rebuild your life without destroying someone else's. Mrs. Rourke rolled down the truck window. Checkout time, honey. This room's paid for, and so is your karma. As we drove away, I watched Jenna in the side mirror, standing under the flickering motel sign, finally understanding that actions have consequences. 6 months later, I heard through the grapevine that Jenna was working at a small marketing firm in another state. Blake's construction company went bankrupt during his divorce. Lexi got her Netflix deal, but lost most of her followers when people realized she'd manipulated the entire situation for content. Me? I kept the apartment, started my own security consulting firm, and learned to trust my instincts about people. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's letting people destroy themselves while you document every moment.